The holographic display flickered to life in the center of the Galactic War Council chamber, casting an ethereal blue glow across the assembled delegates. Admiral Zia Rahman sat at the human representative table, her weathered hands folded calmly as the various alien species around her shifted uncomfortably in their specialized seating arrangements. The ceasefire negotiations with the Vorthak Empire have reached a critical juncture, announced High Chancellor Zefix, his crystalline form refracting the chamber's light into prismatic patterns. We require Admiral Rahman's tactical assessment of the human fleet's position. Zia nodded, rising to address the council. The war against the Vorthak had raged for 3 standard years, their insectoid warriors proving to be formidable opponents with their hive-mind coordination and acidic bioweapons. Humanity had joined the Galactic Alliance reluctantly, only after Vorthak scout ships had decimated 2 human colonies. The Terran Defense Fleet maintains position at the Kepler 442 system, Zia began, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had seen too many battles. Our forces are prepared to resume hostilities if negotiations fail, but we remain committed to finding a peaceful resolution. The Altarian delegate, a tall being with 4 arms and skin like polished obsidian, clicked disapprovingly. Peaceful resolution? The Vorthak have shown no capacity for mercy. They consume entire ecosystems and leave nothing but empty husks of worlds behind them. Commander Elsa Novak, Zia's aide-de-camp, quietly handed her admiral a datapad containing the latest intelligence reports. Elsa had served under Zia for 7 years, and the two had developed an almost telepathic understanding during their campaigns together. The younger woman's blonde hair was pulled back in regulation style, but her green eyes held the same war-weariness that shadowed her superior's features. There have been developments, Zia continued, glancing at the datapad. Our reconnaissance teams have discovered something unexpected about Vorthak biology that may change our understanding of this conflict entirely. Before she could elaborate, an urgent chime echoed through the chamber. The central display shifted to show a real-time feed from the neutral zone where the ceasefire was being observed. The image showed the human flagship Endurance floating alongside several Vorthak bioships, their organic hulls pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. What is the meaning of this interruption? Demanded the Rigelian representative, his tentacles writhing with agitation. The answer came as the camera feed zoomed in on the observation deck of the Endurance. There, clearly visible through the reinforced transperistyle, was Admiral Zia Rahman herself. Not the Zia sitting in the council chamber, but a live feed from just hours earlier. She was kneeling on the deck, carefully bottle-feeding what appeared to be a small Vorthak larva. The council chamber erupted into chaos. Delegates from a dozen species began shouting in their native languages, their translation matrices struggling to keep up with the cacophony of outrage and confusion. "This is impossible," shrieked the Centaurian delegate. "The human is contaminated. She must be under some form of Vorthak mind control." Elsa stepped forward, her hand resting protectively on her sidearm. "Admiral Rahman is not compromised. What you're witnessing is the result of careful scientific observation and humanitarian principles." Humanitarian? The Altarian commander's forearms gestured wildly. "Those are enemy combatants, larvae that will grow into the same monsters that devoured the Kepler colonies." Zia remained calm, her eyes fixed on the display where her past self continued to gently feed the alien infant. 3 days ago, our boarding teams discovered something remarkable aboard a damaged Vorthak bioship. The adult Vorthak weren't just warriors, they were parents, desperately trying to protect their young during the evacuation. She gestured to Elsa, who activated a secondary display showing detailed biological scans. "These larvae are not born as weapons. They require specific nurturing and care to develop properly. Without it, they become the mindless, aggressive creatures we've been fighting. But with proper care," Zia paused, letting the implications sink in, "they develop higher cognitive functions, individual consciousness, the capacity for choice." The Rigelian delegate's tentacles had stopped writhing. "Are you suggesting that the Vorthak aggression is the result of childhood trauma?" "Neglect specifically," Elsa interjected, pulling up additional data. "The adult Vorthak we captured were malnourished as larvae. Their neural pathways developed differently, prioritizing survival and aggression over complex reasoning and empathy. On the main display, young Vorthak larvae could be seen responding to human crew members with what appeared to be affection. their small kittenous forms nestling against the humans who fed and cared for them. "This changes everything," whispered the Centaurian delegate. Zia nodded solemnly. "The Vorthak aren't inherently evil. They're the product of a society that abandoned its most vulnerable members. When we showed compassion to these larvae, they responded with trust and even affection." The chamber fell silent as the implications became clear. The war wasn't just about territory or resources. It was about breaking a cycle of neglect and violence that had persisted for generations. "What do you propose?" asked High Chancellor Zephyx. "Joint nurseries," Zia replied without hesitation. "We work together to care for Vorthak young, teaching them alternatives to aggression. In return, we help the adult Vorthak understand what they lost and how they can reclaim it." Elsa added, "The Admiral has already begun implementing this protocol with the larvae we rescued. Early results suggest complete rehabilitation is possible within 6 months." The council members looked at each other, then back at the display where human crew members could be seen playing simple games with young Vorthak, teaching them to communicate without violence. "The humans," mused the Altarian delegate, "have turned child-rearing into a weapon against war itself." Admiral Zia smiled for the first time in months. "Sometimes the greatest victory is teaching your enemy how to love their children properly." As the council voted unanimously to approve the joint rehabilitation protocol, the feed showed a young Vorthak larva reaching out with tiny appendages to touch the face of its human caregiver. A gesture of trust that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of what it truly meant to be humane.